Okay, we've made it to the end of a very long journey through the basic human needs. And because all of nursing is really founded on meeting people's basic human needs, this unit should follow you through your entire academic profession and into your practice as working nurses. So I hope you learned a lot. We're going to finish up with a little dosage calc. It is our last stop together until we meet again for musculoskeletal, which is in 5 units from now. You'll have a lot of other journeys along the way, including medication administration. So let's set you up for some success with that. So since we just did the psychosocial needs, there really isn't a good way to medicate for love and belonging or self-esteem, but we can certainly work on anxiety. We have an order for Alprazolam, which is an anti-anxiety medication or an anxiolytic, as it's known. When you guys get to pharm, you'll appreciate that. It's also known as Xanax by its trade name. Now, the NCLEX always refers to medications by their generic name, which I'm going to highlight for you. That would be your Alprazolam. However, patients very frequently refer to their medications by their trade name, and I really should have a little trademark sign there. I just couldn't figure out a way to do it with this font. Anyway, our order is for 1 milligram of Alprazolam. It is supplied, in this strength. Some of you are already seeing the little trick there, and if you did, good on you. We'll discuss it later. But they come in 2 milligram tablets. So we'll shrink that down and we'll start in dimensional analysis, and we'll just do the dosage calc, and if you did see the trick, we'll discuss what we do about that. So we want to know how many tablets we're giving per dose. We start with the end in mind like we always do. We've done this a time or two now, so we kind of know how it works. Start with your tabs, that's what you want to finish with. And we know that the tablets, 1 tablet equals 2 milligrams. And we know that we have a dose equivalent to 1 milligram. So our milligrams cancels out, and we can multiply across. We have 1 tab over 2 doses. If we do that division, we know that we have 0.5 or a half of a tab. But wait, oh my goodness, let's look at that label again. What do we have here? Whoops, sorry. Let's kind of get that out of the way. We have extended release tablets. Oh boy, what happens with that? Well, we can't cut them in half, can we? No, we can't, because once we do that, we've changed the properties of the medication. So let's get rid of this label. We have to call the pharmacy. We need a different medication. We can't give that. We're either going to give the wrong dose or we're going to give it in the wrong concentration. So give me 1 minute, I'll get us a new label. So I went ahead and I gave S-bar to my pharmacy tech. I said, listen, I have this patient and I got extended release tabs. They're in the wrong dose. I would have to cut them. I recommend you send me some other concentration or some other formulation. So what comes up in the bullet is this. Now we have 0.5 milligram orally disintegrating tablets. Let's see if I can do anything with that. Well, again, we're working in tabs per dose. And I know my tablet is 0.5 milligrams. And I know that I have a dose of 1 milligram. I have my dose on the bottom. I have my tabs on top. I can cancel, multiply across. Now I have 1 tablet over 0.5 doses. If I do the math for that, either in my head or on paper or in a calculator, I'm going to come up with 2 tabs. And that is the answer if I'm working with that. Okay, so let's do our last ever basic unit needs math problem. We are doing psychosocial needs, so let's go ahead with citalopram, which is an antidepressant. You'll find out more about this medication when you're nursing 133 and to some extent when you take pharmacology over at Mercer, we hope. So our order is for 20 milligrams. It is supplied in a bottle as a liquid with this medication label. And the concentration here is 10 milligrams per 5 mLs. Okay, so far straightforward. Oh, but wait. we have a medication cup that's marked in teaspoons. So now we're going to have to do an additional conversion. Okay, so let's go ahead and set it up. Start where you hope to finish. If you're given medication in a cup that's marked teaspoons, you got to know how many teaspoons. Sorry, I'll change that to white so you can see it easier. How many teaspoons per dose? And then we'll work backwards. Well, we have to get teaspoons on top somehow. So we know that a teaspoon is equivalent to 5 mLs. Okay, and we know that our dose, we want our dose on the bottom, is equivalent to 20 milligrams. And now we got to put in what's on our label. Let me blow that up again just so you can see it. 10 milligrams to 5 mLs. Shrink that down. Whoops, sorry. Let's make it so that our milligrams cancel out with milligrams and our mLs cancel out with mLs. That's how we're going to know that we did it right. So let's go ahead and work that one. Cancel mLs, cancel milligrams. Before you multiply, make sure you're left with teaspoons per dose, which is what's in your answer, and we are. So we can go ahead. Let me, oops, sorry, make that a little bit smaller now for people who know how to reduce fractions. Some of that's going to be a little bit simpler and you're going to come out with the right answer. But for people that don't like fractions, let's go ahead and multiply across. We know that 5 times 20 is 100. We end up with 100 teaspoons. And 10 times 5 is 50. And we end up with 50 doses. When we do that math, we end up with 2 teaspoons per dose. Okay, so now that we know what the correct dose is, I'm going to give you a little sneak preview for medication administration, because we all like the sneak previews, right? And it makes Mrs. Roberts' job a little bit easier in a couple of weeks. So let's take that medicine cup that we have here, and what is that going to look like when we put it in the cup? Most of you are saying, I know what that's going to look like. I'm going to go to the line. Well, liquids are curved and the line is straight. So let's take a look at what that might look like. We know that, let's put the little pointer on, this here is where we want to end up. But if the liquid is curved, if it looks, you know, kind of like this when you pour it, where do you measure to? Do you measure to the top or to the bottom? And very simply, we want what's on the bottom to be level with that line. So let's go ahead and fill that in. Okay, we want 2 teaspoons. So it's going to look like this. Okay, and like I said, that top of the line is going to go up a little bit higher. What you want is for the bottom of the meniscus, which is that curved line, to be level with the line that you are measuring to. So I'll go ahead and color that in because I'm crafty, and in the meantime, you know, enjoy your Monday night. This is probably when you're listening, and I'll see you in class in the morning.